First and foremost, I just want to say thank you, God. Thank you. I keep being told I'm dying, which I do believe it. But I rather die this way. Not because I'm this brave, fearless human being. It's because I'm hearing this loses the government contract. Living a life of just humiliation. But they're just intoxicated with the empowerment they get of how this technology can manipulate people, right? But to hear the things they say, I'm like, don't you feel like a clown sometimes? You see the last video, right? There's somebody on dating profile, and you see the background, and you see like this like kids around. What they did is like they forced me to get sexual stimulation. What they tried to do, they make it look like the stimulation was aimed toward this woman that was like standing there in the middle, and then they just start aiming it toward these kids around. And a matter of fact, in my head, this like creating this disgusting sexual perception of these little kids around. And that's the typical things they've done, right? I've been pretty vocal about what they do. It's nasty, but they live life utilizing these tactics that been utilized on others, and they're trash human low lives. I heard this person like opening like every time they make me experience this, they do gaslighting of they do noise campaign to try to gaslight you to accept this. They make noise campaign, but we just saw that. It's like imagine me doing something to you, you experience what I did to you, and then I come and like, oh, I just saw that, and I go back. This is the kind of life they live. And I see them for that. They know that. This is why they don't like to be seen anymore. There was a time when they used to do that, and because I didn't have any validation, except knowing myself that I will not react this way, that I'm being manipulated to get these reactions. And they used to show themselves and look at me, and they'd be like, oh my God, when I open the door. Now I'm like, come on, please do. As I'm listening to how they force people to have sexual arousals and aim those toward children and manipulate people in these pedophilia ways. This is part of this cognitive warfare tactic of breaking down the target individual, and we are the test subject in this case, in this cognitive warfare. So sexual manipulation, perception, thought manipulation, those kind of things are used to break you down, and it's always in this degrading way. And I've been validated by that because so many others have said the same things. But to hear this trash who made the noise campaign, and they're like, oh, they're gonna rape you, they're gonna do this, you're gonna be raped, you're gonna be raped in the butt, excuse my language, but that's the things that they say. I'm like, you know what, I don't want that to happen, but I swear to God, there's no way I want to trade places for somebody who have to live life like this. I know you're just a bottom feeder for these governmental entities. Matter of fact, she's such a clown. This is what she's supposed to be saying, that she say random things like, oh, they're gonna kill us, huh? And I'm like, who? The government? And like, what are you trying to say? She still thinks that I think it's just like fierce group of femme fatale, and we're just gonna do this. Like, shut the fuck! You can't even say Roy Moore, you dumbass straight. I know who's running this program. You're the trash contracted by these governmental entities tied to these DoD entities that are implementing this technology onto us to test subjects. And this is the tactics used not only on me, but on so many others. I'm one of many. You're not this rogue group of just some loser ass trash the government contracts to implement these things. You're one of so many other people who move around to target individual to break them down. As I'm saying that right now, there's some retards that live next door. I wish I could show you how cowardly they are. They crank the door open. Make sure they're not seen, because if you see them, you see what the level of weak, low life they are. To interrupt me because they really want me to identify. You saw this thing behind. In my head, they still even try to create that. No, you saw this little girl. It's the little girl. She was wearing shorts. Oh, baby. When what they try to do is like they behind her. There was like some look like some woman behind that they've like forcing me to get sexual stimulation, which those are also falsified, but it's a woman, so I'm not gonna care too much about it. And then they start aiming that toward these babies. Like they play this trickery of trying to make me accept these sexual arousals that falsify and then aim those towards these babies. And they send this retard, this trash, no self-respect, they know their task, they know what to do, try to gaslight me. At this point, they don't even want to be seen because I call them trash. I've called them pedophiles in their faces. Now they tell me I'm going to be in pain when I die. It's like, yes, it's going to be a painful death. Well, at one point, some trash said something kind of funny. And this is when you know these perps are like, man, this is what your life is. Of course, she knows I don't care about that. She's like, you're not going to see me suffer or see us suffer. When I was like, why would I want to see you suffer? Why would I? What kind of losery is that? I'm not you. See you suffer. I want to live life. Well, I don't want to see your damn ass suffer. I don't care. They make it sound like what they do is like such a like I want to be no I want to watch nobody. I don't give a shit about you. What kind of sad life would I be living if that was what I would be suffering than watch you suffer? Not because I don't want you to suffer or care about your situation. I don't care. I just don't give a shit about these people. It's sure to sound badass now. You're a coward, low life. You know, you work for these governmental entities filled with pedophiles where they actually have sexual stimulation when they see these kids. And for me, you're here forcing me to get these stimulations. Clown ass. I would rat away. You know why I'm ratting? Because I'm ratting. Because DOD technology is used to on my organs. That is killing my organs. You know why you're killing me? Because you work for these governmental entities. They use human subjects to develop their technology. You know who these entities are, right? You know the Department of Defense is so pedophilia-centric. There's a ranking for their pedophilia levels. Remember the 19th out of 2,891 network for trafficking child porn, right? Yeah, this is the reason why you're able to rat me, because you work for those governmental entities. Do you know that I know that you do the pedophilia type of torture, right? Then you fucking die. You understand that? You know, I love when they say you preach. It's like, oh my gosh, thank you for making me sound like this deep, saint-like individual. Let me preach here. I live my life forcing men and women to have sexual arousals, and I aim those toward children. I rewire the brain every day to ensure that this individual see children in sexual ways and force him or her to get stimulations. I wonder how life is going to be. I wonder what awaits for me when I live this kind of life where I manipulate people in these disgusting ways and then use the technology from the DOD to rat the organs of those individuals while doing everything in the most cowardly way you can imagine. How can life come to me? I wonder, how much of a prophet am I? And then on top of that, to sound fierce, I make myself sound a certain way. Then I die. After watching, because I'm so brave, I watch this person get tortured and scream, and I'll be watching. Then I'll die. Matter of fact, I'm so brave that my coworkers right now are some childlike trash. On some spectrum, mentally childlike, and actually probably a child. And this is who is my teammate, showing what kind of intellectual maturity I need. Then I die. You understand? This is preaching. Trust, you're a retard. You know this shit is coming to you. I don't need to see this low life live their life. These people are so bottom feeders. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for be able to see these bottom feeders for the trash that they are. Thank you. I pray that they continue to live life like this and watch me. Because yes, that's the life to live. Can you imagine these perps? I know some of them say things to agitate me, but they have to. Some of them really live this life. They are in their mind created a fantasy of what these people are. Are they gonna torture? Are they gonna kill us? Huh? It's like who? You work for the government. You trash us. You think you still think that I think this is like a rogue group of you fucking real life? You can't even say his first and last name. What do you mean? You're just a nothing. A loser that work for these pedophiles. I rather bum in the street and live life doing what you're doing comfortably where you just gotta make a noise campaign when I'm out here manipulating people to get sexual arousals. Can you imagine this life? Of course, this is biblical to me. Because everyday death is something that I'm getting closer to. But them too. I don't give a shit. Listen, target individual, I'm sorry for using this language, but I wish you could see who's doing this thing to me. You see the weak vulnerableness of these bottom feeders. The cowardness. They tell me it's not gonna hurt. It's like it's gonna hurt a lot. And then I'll die. How you gonna die? You weren't badass. You're a coward working for pedos and you do this pedophilia type of torture. I don't need you to suffer for you to suffer. I don't need you to see you sad and in any situation for me to like. No, I don't care. I don't. Matter of fact, I don't even if the option was given, I wouldn't want to do that. What I care about you, dumbass. I've seen some of these losers. Jesus, I don't even want to waste a second watching whatever they're doing. Nothing. I was like, get this shit away from me. Just because this trash are getting, I don't know, whatever incentives out of it. I don't. It must be financials at some point. But I'm like, what? What would I give a shit about watching you do anything? Even if you're involved in this, I know you're just a bottom feeder. Look at your dumb ass. Look at you just looking down. Well, imagine me. I'm like, you're watching me. Now you see. Oh God. After life, like a lifetime of humiliation that is not torture. After validation of all you can imagine. And right now I can pull up any like what they made me experience with this person and the kids around. Like this testimony. Woman here right now. She's literally saying they make me have these sexual arousals. It's not even that. She said the program perversion where they aim it toward children. The thought manipulation. There's this woman, this transgender woman who said they're changing my thought, putting thoughts of pedophilia. A woman literally say called the pedophilia type of torture. What do you mean? People talk about how they're forced to have child porn in their mind. This is what they do. Somebody's talk about rewiring thoughts and brain. Somebody say this technology can manipulate the sexual arousals. Then you hear this stretch, you're right. What kind of failure do you listen, what's gonna happen to me is not gonna I'm gonna go through horrible things. And I think the reason why it's even gonna be worse is because these people have been humiliated by reality, so much so. Can you imagine somebody who's like, now it's you now? First of all, I know these people, they work for governmental entities where pedophilia is such an issue. There's a bill for it. There's literally a bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act. This is a bill to attempt to limit the amount of child porn. The entities running this program, running these low lives here, these nothings, limit them from trafficking child porn. Because there's so much of it happening that Child Protective Services ranked these entities network as some of the most child porn trafficking in the United States, calling them a top tier network in regard to trafficking child porn. You start from this top. Secondly, you hear that to break down the target individual, a lot of target individuals have said that the pedophilia type of torture is commonly used, forcing them to have sexual arousals and program of perversion and aiming toward children. You hear this noise campaign. It's trying to make me accept these things. forcing people to have pedophilia type of reaction. They not only do that, but they also torture children. As I'm saying that, they are making my mouth salivate while making me think of these kids that they were wanting me to identify with these manipulations that are nasty and pedophilia centric. These people will die. Am I so much of a saint and a prophet to say people who perhaps dedicate life doing that, let's just say life will come them in a way that is, there'll be perhaps things that will make sure that they remember that you are not a god, you are a low life bottom feeder, you work for pedophiles, you dedicate your life doing this nastiness, and perhaps things will come to you the way somebody who lives your lifestyle will expect things to come back to them. And on top of that, sprinkle all this disturbing cowardness of a person who doesn't even want to be seen because they know how nasty and foul their life is, and they know that the person they're doing that to know what they're doing. So for me, I'm saying thank God, because I could have been these losers. And when I mean losers, I'm not saying that they perhaps don't have things in life. Maybe they have houses and things like that. But man, if this is what you have to do to acquire that, it's so pathetic. And these people talk about how they're gonna frame you. Oh my gosh, add that to your life. Who? Add that to your resume. That you're out here framing people, and then you tell them how you're gonna watch them getting raped. I was like, I'd rather get raped than live life like you. How much is too much? Jesus. And the cowardness, that's what I'm saying. Like, they don't do that with like, just like, oh, I'm with bold and look at me. No. Oh, you're running the apartment. They make noise right now because I'm here in bed. Oh, the bravery. I'm gonna open the door when I'm done this. It's gonna be emptiness. At least the person talking to me right now is not gonna be there. But they'll watch. Target individual, what I say and what I'm going to continuously say, whenever they manipulate your experience, do not identify with any of this manipulation. It's disgusting, but it's not coming to you naturally, organically. This is part of this cognitive warfare where they alter your mind in ways that are going to be degrading. And pedophilia is utilized continuously to break you down. With me, the games are like, what they start trying to do with me is like stimulate me toward this woman in the middle or somebody else, and then crank and then aim it toward this. They crank up the stimulation toward this woman, and then make me start seeing, make me look at the kids around so they can change the stimulation toward these children. But you know, with me, I've been saying that for a long time. I've been talking about libido rewiring. I've been like, all of this has been said, but it was said to the point where I didn't even have this level of validation. So for me, I look like a prophet. Yesterday they were talking about this memory manipulation that they try to I pull out some video I made in 2020. Do you know what they try to do to counter that? Oh no, you had that memory before you. It's like, no. This is some memory you guys are trying to manipulate me like maybe a year or so ago, or when I was already in this apartment, when they were trying to like change. But because I sound too much like a prophet by saying things that I'm experiencing today, by saying that in 2020, it's sounding exactly like what I'm saying today, that they were trying to have this back and forth. This is pathetic. That's life for them right now. And so the frustration that it just looks so much like I'm being manipulated in this pedophilia, my memories are being manipulated. These people are frustrated by how I'm perceiving them and what I see them as. That's the torture I'm going to go through is going to be horrible, because they think that torturing me in whatever ways is going to counter reality. These people are like, they're like, it's just sad. They try to hold on to something to make them feel better. And they're like, no, it's said we're gonna frame you. It's like, thank God, yes, people who do sorry. Not thank God that I'm gonna be framed, but yes, I could have been living life. I'll be like, it's been sad. We're gonna frame you. Yeah, yes, you, the pedos, gonna frame me? How? Let me guess. In the pedophilia ways? And then you'll die. These are the people in your brain manipulating you, rewiring you. And they tell me how it's gonna be sad. Yes, I'm gonna be in what? I'll be sad, screaming on the floor, dying slowly, and then I'll die. But you, can you imagine? Not only they do all these nasty things, but they do it in a remotely way. They sound like children talking to you. It's gonna be sad. He's like, yes, the government's destroying my life. Huh? Sad. And you'll watch it. Then you'll die. But men, I rather be sad dying on the floor than being happy doing what you do. I rather be castrated than working for pedophiles that torture even children. And there's a whole bill called End National Defense Network Abuse Act, because there's so many child porn being trafficked by the entities that contract your dumbasses and your low lives and your bottom feeder life. That there's a bill that tries to stop that. And there's testimonies all around the world about how mean you are to not only men, women, but children. And also validation that you're forcing people to get sexual arousals toward children. And by the way, mass shooting causing men to lose their mind and killing men, women, and children. I rather get castrated. I swear to God. These people are awaiting my torture as if it's gonna change what they're part of. I'd rather be killed by animals than live life for pedos. I'd rather be a nothing than something like this low life. And today they're forcing me to have sexual stimulation. You know what they're trying to do now with Matthew? Remember what you did as a kid? Oh my gosh. These people not only torture children, but they are forcing men and women to have sexual stimulation toward children. This is part of the ego breakdown. And they still, if you see who's talking to me about how they mapped it, it's humiliating. I'm so thankful I didn't have to live life like this. I know they don't have no self-respect. I know, you look at them like respect is like, well. Then we mapped it. It's like, yeah, okay, a bunch of pedos. That's why there's so many mappers in these agencies, the top tier mappers. Target individuals, stay strong. Stay strong and see this trash for what they are. Do not be aggressive. Find ways to be strong because they are not that. At least for me, some of these people, I'm like, oh my God, oh, Jesus, you're just such a nothing. Some of them are so nothings, man. Listen, I'm a nothing in the sense that I don't think I'm like this special human being. I'm just an everyday person who wish could live like a normal person. These trash call themselves gods, but you see who's calling themselves gods. And I know, like, even if it's just to agitate me, I would be so terrified to call myself a god, especially when I'm like that. To all my target individuals, stay strong and see these bottom feeders for the bottom feeders that they are. In regard to the manipulations, that's their job. They're supposed to break you down with these nasty pedophilia reactions and thoughts and perceptions. But remember who they work for. Can you imagine you working for governmental entities with such issue with pedophilia, and your job is to make somebody experience these nasty pedophilia reactions? Thank you, God, I didn't have to live this life.